This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the DailyFX Forum.
So here are the four pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, and the Euro Swiss. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. First chart is the Euro Pound. If you recall, during the last several reports, I mentioned the 87 figure as resistance, and just beneath that 84 figure as support, with prices now in the middle of this range. There are no trade opportunities at the current moment. With that being said, right now prices are about 90 pips or so beneath the resistance line, so this trade could materialize within the next 24 hours. We might look to enter just a few pips beneath the line with a stop maybe 50 pips or so above the line. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and not much has changed here. Still using this channel as my reference. The upper channel line set up a good short trade here, as I mentioned during the past several reports, to exit that short trade if you did enter, while it was low confidence when I did mention the trade idea. And right now prices, the same boat here, are in the middle of the range. We might look for prices to come down to the lower channel line. Now the issue that I have with this line, I like the upper line obviously because it's a very clean trend line with no penetration, and the bottom line has this penetration here, has some wick spillover here, so I don't have that much confidence in the line, but I do see at least an initial bounce off that line. There's a good chance for that in terms of risk to reward in my mind. Technically you might draw the channel like this, and that's something we might move forward with if there is a clear indication that the market is ignoring this channel line. But right now I'm going to keep it with connecting these lows and ignoring this penetration here. So moving forward, again, we might look to enter on the long side when prices test this line with a stop maybe 50 to 75 pips beneath the line. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and the sell-off does continue on the borderline double top pattern here. Personally, I did miss this trade. I was trying to get an entry just a few pips higher, just above that 81 figure, and prices only made it to about the 80-90 area right here. But prices are selling off. As I mentioned yesterday, this is what I thought would happen, but the risk reward just isn't there with a trade entry. With that being said, you might have entered on my trade recommendation, and I also mentioned that if you did enter, we might look for another leg down. So I might look to cover my short trade if you are in this trade, if prices do take out that 77.16 low. So maybe somewhere in the high 176 area, maybe 176.80 or something like that would be a good point to cover. Now the primary trade on this pair right now is to wait for prices to come down and test the longer term support line formed by the late 2008 low and the late March low right here. And again, same concept, we might look to enter at the line, maybe a few pips above it with a stop, maybe 75 to 100 pips beneath the line. The last chart is the Euro Swiss, and let me pull that up. And moving forward now, actually let me zoom out here and show you the longer term resistance line that I've been using. We had the breakout above it, the successful but ugly back test. It's not very clean, but it was a successful back test. And now prices, I mentioned during yesterday's report, the evening star pattern. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is a classic evening star pattern, with this candle closing more than halfway down the body of this candle here, the first candle in the pattern. So that is a confirmation of an evening star. I also mentioned that the risk to reward isn't that good in terms of entering, and that's true with a bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing, or evening morning star patterns. That's the price you pay for extra confirmation, is that you have to take a little more risk in the trade. So personally, it's just beyond my personal risk parameters here, but certainly some traders might have entered, and I would look to cover this trade maybe in the 52.50 area. And again, the primary trade is the long trade off the longer term support line formed by the late March low here and the late June low over here. And stay tuned for a DailyFX forum. I want to go ahead and formally welcome everybody to the DailyFX forum. And I want to explain a little bit about the forum and the wealth of information that you can obtain from the forum, and how to go about doing so, how to find the things you want. So I'm just going to dive right in right now, and this is DailyFX.com, and this is usually how I navigate my way towards the forums. Obviously, it really depends on each individual how they access the forums, but this is how I go ahead and do it. I go DailyFX.com, go ahead and click on the forum on top, and this brings you to the DailyFX forum homepage, and this highlights the most recent posts with the subject. So if you see anything that you're interested in, you can obviously go ahead and click. What I like to do is click on the forums tab like this, and go ahead and view the forums in the normal, typical way that forums are set up. And here you go. There are a bunch of threads down here, and I'm just going to go ahead and go directly to the forum the video you just viewed, where you viewed it. So let's go ahead. This is the DailyFX Instructor Tips Forum, identifying trades with DailyFX. That's me. And go ahead and click on the most recent post. So this is where you are right now viewing the video, although the video will be the video beneath this one that you're watching right now. So normally when I'm on the forums, and what I would do is just scroll up to the top. Certainly you can check out any of my previous videos, and you know, especially if I did mention them in the report or in the video that you're viewing at that moment. And what I will do is go ahead and click on the forums, and then look for the forums that I like, you know, that I have interest in. One of them would be the Euro-Dollar forum, and this, again, it's really up to each individual trader as to exactly how they want to use the forum. Personally, what I like to do, the first thing I do is I'll go to the Euro-Dollar thread, I'll go and click on the latest post. And what I'll do here is, and again, I just want to, you know, really emphasize this point. It depends on your exact mindset when you're viewing. And me as a trader, I have some experience. So what I do and how I personally use the forum is I go through and I'll read what people are saying about the euro, what their trade ideas are. I certainly, you know, try to maintain my own individual objectivity, and I really don't pay much attention to what other traders are saying in terms of my trading. I'm not going to certainly see something on a forum and then go jump into a trade, but what it will do, it will open my eyes to certain trading opportunities, maybe a certain line or a certain time frame that I haven't looked at before. So that's one way that I personally like to utilize the DailyFX forum. But certainly for newer traders, there are plenty of topics that you can go over. Let's say, you know, you might not be well versed in terms of certain currency pairs that you want to learn about. Scalping, you might not know what Elliott wave is. You can go ahead and click there and see exactly what you can, you know, what you can understand, what you might not understand, and then certainly feel free to ask questions about any of these topics that you have. Maybe the carry trade, maybe you have some questions about that, or the sentiment, the SSI, or the latest economic news, FX programmers, the webinars, MT4. Any questions about active trader, you can go ahead and click on those threads. So again, it's very free, very open, and there is a wealth of information here and just waiting for to be utilized. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thank you for listening.